What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, June 16th, and it's tea time from Vegas. We're getting ready for another exciting week of PGA Tour action. I've got a panel of experts to help you break it all down. We're going to get some picks. We're going to get some angles, some leans, some analysis, the whole 9 yards. So let's kick it around the room to start. Andrew McKinnis, Nick Borman. Nick, I guess I'm going to start with you because you kind of gave out the winner last week in a kind of roundabout. Oh, no, sorry, Andy, that was you. That was you that gave out the winner in a very roundabout way. So I will give you the honors, Andy. You gave us Daniel Berger last week, but I don't know how many people listened to you because the matchup bet was void. I guess we're all just going to have to watch. Wow. How long has that burger been sitting there for, Andy? That's the question.
It's not hot.
It's not hot. It's not hot.
I've been making money on Daniel Berger all year. I said last week he was going to win one of these tournaments, and we bet on him against Brandt Snedeker, who withdraws. I've never bet on a guy who wins a tournament and not gotten paid. I can't believe it. I
mean, I'll give you credit for the cap, right, guys? He gets credit for the cap, but there's no ticket at the end of the
win. Give me a half a win.
I don't know, Andrew. You're new to the show this week. Give me your thoughts on Andy's win or not win, giving us Daniel Berger last week. Should we give him credit or just let him eat his burger in peace?
First of all, I mean, that just shows commitment to the show. We have no idea how long that's been sitting there. That's commitment. Happy to be on with you guys. People are saying that, not too many major sports are back. I'm having a blast right now. I mean, we've got PGA, we've got UFC. I'm doing KBO. So much going on. What a win. I mean, like he said in the right after the match in the interview, it probably isn't the way he wanted to win, but it's the way golf works. It took a few unfortunate missed putts for a few other guys and kind of, the most consistent guy won, and that's kind of what it takes to win in golf. So, hats off to him. Hats off to Andy for making some money off Berger consistently. And, I respect it even more, Andy, that you said that you've been doing that, time in, time out, not just this previous tournament. So good for you, and look forward to the show, and enjoy that burger.
I know. I was going to say, maybe you should order one for me. Nick, I guess it was a fun weekend to watch. Promo codes. We got a lot of stuff going on with other shows. Andrew mentioned it, KBO stuff. So we're going to get into all that. But I think first out of the gate for me is the things we learned from this weekend and how we can apply that to future handicaps, because it did feel, Nick, like it was kind of a new season out there.
It did. I mean, a lot of the guys were, this is the first time we saw him in action. How long? 3 months. You could tell a lot of them were excited to be out there. The one thing I remember we talked about last week was, the mic'd up guys. That was a new feature, right, to the PGA Tour. And I'm not sure if that's going to continue because, of course, the two guys that were mic'd up did not make the cut. Yeah. They're playing well. But, a lot, what I learned, I guess, from this event is that, these fields, as we come back, these fields are deep. On Sunday, you had 5 guys with a putt on the final hole or 2 holes to win the dang thing, which was awesome to watch. And of course, nobody could make one. So whether there's fans or there's no fans, the pressure is still real, right? I mean, these guys, this is the one sport that I don't want to say doesn't need fans, but it doesn't matter really if they're there. The putt to make or break a tournament still matters, and your knees still wobble, and these guys were unable to put it in when they needed to. So, sans fans, there's still the pressure throughout the tournament for these guys. And right now, looking ahead a little bit to this week, the one thing, I don't know if it's just because it got more attention this week, being, a major event on without, baseball or any of the other big American sports on, but I'm seeing a lot of the lines this week as what I think to be an overreaction, I think, to last week's results. One week, a lot of the times, Andy, you hit it. You've been riding Berger for a while, and you kept saying, I'll do it until the markets catch up. Well, how many weeks in a row have you done that, right? So, but if you look at some of the numbers this week, a guy like Morikawa who had his chances to win. I mean, his numbers this week in his head-to-heads are way down. And, is it an overreaction in 1 week? I think it is. So that's kind of what I learned from last week, is that it seems like the market's a little bit more volatile right now, and we'll see how that goes going forward.
Yeah, we're definitely going to analyze the market. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. So we got a $2 Tuesday. I've got a $2 Tuesday for you. It's a 5% move. It's on sportsmemo.com. I won my 5% move last week, Tony Finau over Leishman. It was a matchup bet. This is not a matchup bet. This is a leaderboard bet, but it's a good pick, and it's a sound handicap, and I'm looking forward to getting the guys' thoughts about this guy a little bit later in the show. Also, Nick's been crushing it, especially in soccer. And you should take advantage of this promo. $89 for 7 days, unlimited, unfettered access to Nick Borman at WagerTalk. Promo code Nick89. Again, you can see those codes at the bottom of the screen. So get to sportsmemo.com, wagertalk.com, get on it. There's a lot going on right now, even though we don't have the big boys back. The edges are still to be found because a lot of these sports are not as in the spotlight as the big boys. So there might be some more edges. All right, let's start and get into this week's tournament. RBC Heritage. It's at Harbour Town. Beautiful. I mean, look at it here. I've got a beautiful picture of it behind me. Beautiful Harbour Town golf links. Let's start. We'll go around the horn. Andrew, I'll start with you. First up, initial thoughts for this week. What are some trends? What are some key angles you're looking at for handicapping some of the golfers this week?
Yeah, well, first of all, it seems to me, this course is going to be relatively similar to what we saw last week. It's a very, very tight course, tight fairways. Ball striking is going to be very important. Finesse is going to be very important. We're not looking at the power guys as much, and I think that's what we saw in the top 10 finishes. Like a lot of guys fell off on the final day just based off a couple errors, overshooting or shooting too wide. And then the putters. I mean, putters are winning it just like in most tournaments, but most specifically with this one. So I'm going to look at some of the guys that can really, get their second shot off, get the irons going, because when it looks like right now is, started off decent, but then the power guys are just really falling off. So, I took a little tour, the online virtual tour, Jared, and looked at this course, and it seems very similar. It's a beautiful course, but, very tight fairways, woods on each side. But, once you get past the start, it's very open as well. So, I'm going to look at a lot more guys that are more so finesse guys and not just power strikers.
Interesting. Andy, I'll go to you. I do think, and I see it in the chat, we're actually talking to each other. Guys, get in the chat. We'll definitely answer your questions if you want. I like the rebound numbers this week for a guy like Webb Simpson, for a guy like Dustin Johnson, guys who missed the cut, who obviously have a ton of talent. What's your handicap on guys who maybe didn't play well first round out of the gate, but the talent is still there, and maybe this course, Harbour Town, suits them a little bit better? Those are the two to me that stick out immediately as kind of buy low based on what we saw last weekend, Simpson and DJ.
Yeah, one thing I'm looking at is this tournament's normally played after a major. Now it looks like a major. Yeah. So it's a completely different mindset. This field is by far the best field that this tournament has ever seen. I'm gonna take previous year's performances with a grain of salt. These greens are really hard to hit. They're mostly crowns. They're small. They're the size of my deck. I said deck. I'll just throw out one random stat that I'm looking at that will be involved in a pick that I have. Ian Poulter is third on PGA Tour with scrambling from 10 to 20 yards. You're not going to hit every green. 70% greens in regulation this week is great. You're going to have to chip. You're going to have to putt. You're going to have to save some of these pars, and sometimes the guys that aren't good around the greens kind of benefit from the longer courses. This is not one. You have to be good with scrambling. So those are some stats I'm going to be looking at.
Nick, I agree. I think around the green's huge this week. I'm actually going to the PGA site now to see some of these around the green numbers. I do have Poulter on my list. Nick, any initial handicaps here from Harbour Town? Obviously, it's a course that it's not going to get the big names. So we've seen some interesting names win this tournament. In fact, I think I had a note. First-time winners, the last four winners have all been first-time winners on tour, which is a fascinating thing to me. I don't think we're going to see that this year. I have a feeling this year's winner will not be a first-time winner.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it is interesting to see that, considering last week was, 20 years without a first-time winner. So, Kind of echo what Andy had said about the small greens. This course is kind of like one of the more course management type of places you see out there, where placement in the fairway, not only hitting the fairway, but where do you want to be in the fairway? It's one of the small that these guys here. So having the right angle into them is going to be huge. And then really you kind of look at, things like proximity to the hole really matter as much, to me at least, on the mid-iron approach, because again, if you're within that 20-foot range, you're probably on the green. If you're 25 feet, you're probably off the green, because these things are small. So I think a course manager is going to come here. That's why I do think the course knowledge here will help. You do see guys with really, really deep. You mentioned Poulter. He's got a really strong track record here. Webb Simpson's another guy. So you do see guys here that perform well year in and year out.
All right, Andrew, I'm going to throw some names at you. You let me know if any of these guys catch your eye, catch your ear, I guess. Kevin Kistner, hometown guy, South Carolina. Matt Kuchar, 2014 champion. We talked about Webb Simpson. Any of these guys interest you? Guys that have had success at Harbour Town that maybe didn't have the best success last week?
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes down to this, especially with sports just coming back and this tournament, PGA just getting back and rolling with just one tournament, set already. There's going to be times, like Nick alluded to, with people kind of pounding certain guys in the markets just based off recent form. And I think some guys' recent form is going to be important, and sometimes some guys it's not going to be. And I like Andy's guy, Berger, actually, over Kuchar. And you look at, he's second in the tournament last year. I think he's had some great course history here. This guy's having a great lunch over there during the show. But I just think that as far as, up to form type stuff goes, I don't think Kuchar's there, and I think you can get an excellent price right now. I think a small minor plus price on Berger. So I'm going right there. I'm not going to be the kind of guy that's going to just take every person that had success this past weekend. Sure. But this is an example where I'm going to go that way, guys, and I do like Berger to get the job done over Kuchar.
All right, that's an interesting one. All right, I'm going to throw some more names out there. Feel free to jump in at any moment if any of these guys catch your ear in terms of maybe some longer.
Unless they're a true, proven player. Okay. This line has moved 30, 35 cents already. Okay. Berger was plus money early in the day. He's now minus 110. So if you're out there and you want this play, jump on it now. The price is plummeting. So get ahead of the number right now.
I guess I'm surprised, and I guess either one, any of you guys can answer this. I mean, Andy, if you think you might have a hedge on it, but why do you think Berger opened as an underdog against Kuchar, considering Berger's the not the defending champ, but coming off the recency bias for Berger, very strong, whereas Kuchar didn't play great over the weekend, not bad, but do you think that's just because of the course history, or is there something else there? Because I would think Berger would have opened as a favorite over Kuchar. I would have guessed.
Course history here. He was second last year.
Yeah.
But the circumstances are completely different. Kuchar, talk about a brutal beat. I mean, he was going to be inside the cut, and he double bogeyed the last hole on Friday.
Yeah.
He missed a cut by one. He tanked DraftKings lineups, bets all over the place. But still, he was only going to make the cut by one. Not a great performance. I know anything can happen on the weekend. He's got one top 15 finish in his last 5 tournaments played. Just not solid. I think the books missed on that opening line, and you can see it because the line's dropping.
Yeah, Andy, it does look like that.
Sorry, Jared. Andy, when you say that, fading past winners, because I've been looking quite a bit at that as well, and I think, you read articles online. A lot of people take a lot into account about previous winners of certain courses, and like I said, I don't want to go into recent form too much, but we're talking about just this one last tournament. Missing the cut, not having good performance. A lot of guys miss the cut. But how much, for all of you guys, can we really take that into account? Because, like you said, past 5 tournaments, not great. Missed the cut last tournament. And then Berger been consistently a good winner in his matchups. And, I think I looked at this play and I wanted to discuss it with you guys on the show, but I felt almost a little bit square for saying it just because it's the previous winner, honestly. But, looking at a guy that was second last year in this tournament, why should that really mean a lot to me if he hasn't been playing well at all over the past 5 to 6 months?
Andrew, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we literally had this exact discussion last week about Justin Rose. And Koken kind of poo-pooed my Justin Rose play because he said he's not going to be even looking at Justin Rose until he has any recent success. Missed 3 of 5 cuts before the pause, but he had torn up Colonial. I mean, he had just been, and he loves Colonial. So I was like, I was on the fence on betting him because I trust Koken's handicap, but also I was hesitant because of that form. So I guess the question is, should you be even thinking about what they did in March or even last week if the course plays to that golfer so well? And I guess this week, maybe it would be a guy like a Dustin Johnson who hadn't been playing well, but he's played very well at Harbour Town before. Or a guy like Webb Simpson who didn't play well last week, but plays Harbour Town well. I mean, is that a way? Do you weigh that at all? Or how about, I'll even throw another one out there. How about Luke Donald, who didn't play last week, but has been the runner-up 5 times at Harbour Town? So that's even another one I think that's tough. I mean, is there any handicap at all to guys that are struggling, but they love this course? You have to kind of ignore that in a sense, right?
Absolutely. I'll jump in. Course familiarity and comfortability is a lot. One bet that I love, Freddie Couples, first page leaderboard, Augusta National every year. It just goes to show, like, some guys love a venue and it brings their game up. They know the place inside and out. They know what they're hitting before they walk to every tee. They know where they can miss. They know what their tendencies are. I mean, I play golf as much as I can every week. I have a home course. I'm confidently going out there shooting 5-6 strokes better than when I travel on the road, just because I know what to do and where to go. So I think course form doesn't always trump, of course, recent success, but I think a lot of the times it could be more important than recent success, and bring guys out of a slump. Some guys that you say are struggling can come right back when they get to a place they love. So I think it's very important to look at that.
How about the other side of the coin, guys? How about some players this week that played well last week that you think on the other side, this course doesn't suit them? Maybe a Morikawa, who by all accounts was inches away from winning that tournament on Sunday, but has never really seen Harbour Town before. What are your thoughts on a guy like him this week?
I think Morikawa, for not so much the course unfamiliarity, because I guess every rookie is going to be unfamiliar with every course, yet he's been performing pretty dang well since his start. But going back to we were talking about fading a past winner. I actually like to play the angle of young guys, rookies. When they are there, I mean, he ended up winning last year, but when they get close and they fall short, listen, if you look at his short record, this is his first heartbreak, right? His first, he had it, he could have easily won. He had a 6-footer to win, another putt to tie to move on to another playoff hole. That's tough to overcome. And the grind of 4 straight days coming in with a big letdown, this could be a situation where, a struggle that these guys that aren't proven yet don't have that mental capacity always to kind of get over that quickly. On the other hand, he could come out and win, but I think playing against that this week makes sense.
Andrew, any other guys this week you think deserve a little bit of a boost on your board based on maybe past play or play at Harbour Town in the past, or maybe you're fading some of those guys that maybe have not played that well?
Just a little quick, just to continue about Morikawa, though, Jared, I really think that he's a guy, like you said, where he's a guy that right now his matchups are a lot stronger than we saw last week, just based on his success and stuff like that. So, I think if you're going to bet a guy like him, you got to be betting more so something in a larger plus money than versus a matchup, because his matchups are pretty strong right now. I'm looking at Sanjay Im quite a bit here in this one. I like him versus Webb Simpson. I think it's really underrated now. 3 top 10s in a row for him, and it's his style, of course. I mentioned it off the top what my type of handicap is going to be for this, and I might have kind of mixed and matched my words, but I was trying to say exactly what Andy was saying. Just smaller greens, tighter fairways, then it's going to be about your approach and how you get to it. And looking at what he's been able to do. He ranks top 15 in the field in birdies. Birdies are better, par 4s gain, and putting and quality drives over his past 50 rounds. So, I mean, consistency is the name of the game for this guy right now, and I think this course really fits him and what we've seen from him. So he's a guy I'm looking at for a matchup, and also throughout the entire tournament. So, I'm not sure if day-to-day matchups and stuff like that, but he's a guy I'll be looking to really have a hot start to this one and just show some consistency, because we saw a lot of people try and take some chances, and I think taking chances is what, you know, can kind of win you things, but also can kind of screw you up. So out the gate, I think he'll show some the right spots to succeed and find the greens. So I like him at a pretty good price.
Good stuff. Andy, what are your thoughts? Not a ton of experience at Harbour Town. Played last year, missed the cut. Young guy, though, so, you know, you wouldn't expect him to have a lot of experience anywhere he plays, but he's continued to play well. Sungjae Im, any juice to Andrew's handicap there on the youngster?
Yeah, I have him down as one of my plays.
There you go.
He was matched up against Schauffele, but still finished 10th. Can't be mad about that.
Nope.
This guy, he's a robot. He travels from tournament to tournament with his parents, stays in hotels. He's just a golf machine. And those are the guys betting on. I know. So he missed, which I love.
Yeah.
That it helps our value. The guy's just dialed in. So I absolutely love Sungjae Im. He's going to be on my card this week.
I would say Im, to me, Nick, would be more of a top 10, top 20 type of play. I don't know if I'm going to play him to win the tournament, but I like your guys' handicap, a lot of him. I was not looking at him up until about 3 minutes ago. Now I am. And the beauty of doing these shows, honestly, like I think that's a bigger, broader thing. Like, we don't know exactly who each one of us are on, and I know we do a lot, and the more people you the more you could pull from the weave of the quilt. So it is interesting that now I'm looking at Sungjae Im plus 150 in the top 20. That's not bad. That's something I'm definitely going to look to play. Nick, anything else I'm kind of missing here? And any long shots maybe down lower on the board people should be taking a look at? We talked about some of the big boys. Another name I'm curious to get your thoughts on is Jon Rahm, who kind of no-showed, and Rory, really, the top two guys last week, kind of no-showed, especially Rory on Sunday. Rahm missed the cut. Any bounce back for those guys this week?
I love Rahm.
Okay.
The guy, yeah, he missed the cut last week, but he, in 18 starts before that match, he had one other miscut, which he then came back and won immediately after that. But he had 16 of the other 17 starts, his worst finish. That's a long track, top tens. And to see a guy playing that well, that confident, miss the cut, and we talked a little week about his emotions, right? I don't think that's going to sit well with him. I think he's going to come out here fired up. I think he's going to be shooting at everything, at every flag stick, and I think he's going to come out strong. I think he's going to be there all week. I love Rahm this week. He is paired up, as Andrew mentioned, against tougher. He's matched up against Morikawa. You never saw Morikawa matched up against a Rahm or a McIlroy or the top five in the world, but you do this week. And I think that is one of the market prices I alluded to earlier about being overvalued. Rahm is minus 135 in that matchup, but I think, again, 2 months ago, he would have been 180, 190.
Yeah.
So I think there's good value on Rahm to come back this week, and I do like that particular matchup.
Andy, that's a fascinating conversation to me when we talk about playing up or playing down. It's kind of, in my eyes, like a horse that, goes up in grade, goes up in class. And that's how we're kind of grading a lot of these, matchups. Now Morikawa's in tier 1. And how do you kind of adjust your line accordingly to make sure you're getting the best value for a guy like Rahm, who clearly has the talent edge or maybe the experience edge at least, but not playing as well as Colin Morikawa? That's a hard handicap for me. How would you kind of navigate that?
I love coming back against a big name guy that missed the cut. There's great value, but I mean, with Rahm, all it takes is one errant tee shot.
Yeah, that's always my fear.
Next thing you know, he's flinging his club at his caddy and he blows the next 4 holes and misses the cut. Meanwhile, Morikawa birdie, chip in, make a putt. Meanwhile, Rahm's doing self-evaluation on the tee on 16. I'll give you a couple guys that are kind of off.
Self-care, we're calling it, Andy. Self-care.
You can see the steam coming out of his head. Yeah, I'll give you a couple guys that are off the beaten path here. 50-1. Tyrrell Hatton's coming back. He took a lot of time off with. Yeah, second best follow on social media behind Eddie the Pint Pepperell is Tyrell Hatton. Follow him now. But he comes back from his time off with the injury and he finishes sixth and then he wins. The guy's he's another great one that will lose his mind over one bad shot. But when he does it, it's hilarious. When Robb does it, it's embarrassing.
Robb's scary. Robb scares me. I bet on Robb last week, and I won't be betting him again anytime soon because I just didn't see that finishing fire. Like, he's just so wrapped up in his own head. You saw the finish line with guys like Morikawa, with Bryson DeChambeau. It's another guy I want to mention as well this week. Those are finish line guys. Like, I feel like so up here, you just can't win tournaments consistently when you're in your own head that much.
No. I was out at the PGA Championship in the U.S. Open last year, and I watched him. He was there with Sergio Garcia and Rafa Cabrera-Bello. I watched him on the first hole. Robb birdied, and he was laughing and yucking it up. And then he bogeyed the second. He was like a kid stomping his feet in the grocery store when his mom didn't buy him candy. And he just blew his whole round. So, Tyrell Hatton. And then I said it half joking last week, but a guy like Bubba Watson may really like not having the galleries around, and he was
Nick
tied
mentioned
7th.
Bubba in
his call with that, Andy.
If you're looking at kind of a long shot that nobody's going to be on, Bubba.
Nick, follow up on that because you mentioned Bubba in your prep, how you were surprised at his play.
Yeah, I was. I mean, like Andy just said, it didn't set up. That course was not for him. He had not been playing well heading in, but he's a guy that the crowds really, he's had a lot of bad interactions with fans in events, and the crowds kind of have turned on him over the years. So the point was well taken that, maybe he comes alive with the fact that, there are no crowds here. Will it continue this week? I don't know. There is good value, I think, still on him. I'm kind of a little nervous just because I've watched him the last couple seasons and just kind of been unimpressed by his play. But I mean, if he plays well again this week, I'll look back while there's no crowds out there. But I don't think it's a bad play. Personally, I'll be laying off that one. But Bubba was a surprise for me this week. So we'll see what he does this week.
Andrew, any other surprises over the weekend that you think might carry over, or maybe the other way, kind of, things that you might not expect, I guess?
Well, Bubba was a guy that just absolutely in different matchup plays, just completely ruined me. He was, looking at...
he ruined me too. I had him against Knox. I shouldn't have listened to Koken last week. Koken killed me. He got me off Rose, and he got me on to Russell Knox. I mean,
I had that exact same play. I mean, the thing is, looking at a guy like that is that, he's someone for me where I would say I'm not going to get too excited off one performance. It's like if you had him last week, you had him. But if not, it is what it is, really. And I think that's kind of how you have to look at it. I wouldn't really look towards, saying I'm going to jump on his bandwagon. But to Andy's point, it's awesome with this sport versus many other sports that I've been on shows with where it's not really one team competing against another team. It's literally these guys competing against themselves, per course. So there's so many bets. And like you said, Jared, we can go on here and we could all have, 10, 20 different bets on 20 different guys to finish in so many different ways,
right? You can't bet that many guys because you're
100%.
Hard part of golf handicapping is all of these. You can make a case for all of them. You can make a case for so many guys, whether it's he's not playing well, so the number's wrong, so you're going to make a case for the number. Or this course fits him really well, he should win, you're playing the player. How do you draw that line between for so many of these guys?
I'll be on Dustin Johnson. I'll be on Dustin Johnson this week in a couple different ways, shape, or form. He's a guy that, I mentioned with Bubba, look at a good embarrassed with himself, and I think he'll come back and, very similar course, like I said, but I think DJ, has played well here. I think he will get the job done and play a lot better and step things up. And he's a guy I'd be comfortable relying on to kind of have a quick bounce back, for lack of better words. So, looking at what he's done here, looking at, what he was saying post, interviews and things like that, I like a guy like that. Some competitors, you want to say, hey, look, I'm going to stay away from this guy. He's a train wreck. He's lost it. But with a guy like DJ, I think he'll get right back on track here.
Andy, I'll let you comment there because I see you guys are popping off on DJ in the chat, and I know you're not a fan of him. 40. I don't know when the last time I saw him.
Well, you got to look and see if he's staying at a ranch house or if he's staying at a house it's got stairs. That's always been an issue with him. In all seriousness, I mean, did the guy pick up a club besides doing that charity event? And I know you guys watched that charity event. Did you watch him trying to line up his own putts? They were breaking right, and he was reading them left. It was embarrassing. His focus looks off. His putting has always been shaky at best. I just didn't see anything to make me excited to put my money behind Dustin Johnson. I would pay a lot of money to be on one of those cross-country flights with him and Paulina.
There you go. I don't know. I don't know much about Paulina. I guess I need to do some more research. I do? Okay. And he's giving me the wave. I got to do some more research on Paulina. I don't see if I have any more guys on my list that we can tear to shreds here. How about the defending champion, CT Pan? You're getting over 100-1 on him. I know, very different field than last year. Obviously, this is the week after the major. So, usually nobody plays in this event. But any juice on the defending champion at all? Top 10, top 20, anything?
No.
Yeah,
I had to at least mention his name. He is the defending champion.
I feel like he's missed at least 5 out of the last 6 cuts. The only time he made the cut, he finished 63rd. CT Pan. Fun fact.
I feel like that's the part about the on. I don't know what the schedule looks like over the next month, but it does feel like we're gonna have our more B+ type tournaments with the A talent, which is going to make handicapping what happened in the previous tournament kind of moot. And really, you can't even look at some of these guys because the talent level in the field last year is not even in the same galaxy as what we're seeing this year. All right, again, before we do $2 Tuesday, it's my pick. I've got a leaderboard bet. You're not going to want to miss that because, let's be real, you're not going to find a better deal than $2 for a bet. Usually you're paying $40 for. And also my guy, Nick Borman, 7 days of unfettered access on WagerTalk for 89 bones. Not a bad deal. Nick. And also, we got a fun show coming up next, guys. We got the AFC North show with the Prez. So we're going to switch gears to some NFL. And I guess this is something good to talk about as we whip it around the horn, but you all have your hand in another sport. So, Andrew, I'll start with you. I know KBO is your thing. You got the show with Coke. And talk about what you're doing with the Korean baseball. A little interesting now that, are you still seeing the same interest? And what's been the KBO response so far with betting these games?
I'm loving it, Jared. I mean, the only thing I don't like is the time the games are on.
Yeah, me too.
Trying to, manage going to sleep, waking up at about, 5:30 in the morning. And the thing is, some people probably would say I have the best time because I'm far, far East Coast. So the games are at about 6:30 in the morning. But you know what? A lot of people are going to say, where's the information you're finding on it? How do you know these guys? What do you know about these guys? You know what? We're in a day and age where if you have if you have access to the internet, so it's been a blast now, getting to know players, getting to know teams, getting to know certain strategies, and it's a chat box every day. Right. And I think what it comes down to really, and Jared, I've seen you betting it as well on Twitter. What it really comes down to is what's going on right now, because we've seen WagerTalk has done a great job of doing shows for like Prez's show coming up, the NFL preview shows and things like that. But people want to bet on something right now, not something that's going to happen in a month and a half or 2 months. So it seems like a lot of people have certainly adapted to it. It's only a 10-team to look at the discrepancy almost from team 1 to team 10, but we see right now the largest win streak is 2 games. So it's not just on the standings it's one team dominating, but overall from a betting standpoint you really have to track it day in, day out. It's been a blast. The odds come out early afternoon, and then Dave and I are live at 4 p.m. Eastern time doing it, and thanks to everybody that's been supporting the show.
Yeah, I love it. You've done a great job. Information. the knowledge and the actual, execution of the knowledge, in my eyes, are two different things. Any guy with an internet connection can find these stats that we're using. It's being able to connect wire A to outcome A and get a positive result on that knowledge is why you watch us. So I think that's a good distinction to make. And the information, anyone can see what the Hanwha Eagles record is this year, but how do you determine if their record actually matters on today's line and today's spread and today's pitchers? So that's why you watch Dave. That's why you watch Andrew do the KBO show. They do a great job. Andy, I know you're doing a lot of NASCAR. Please tell us, because NASCAR is the one sport I really haven't gotten into a ton, but you've been crushing it.
Yeah. There's not a lot of NASCAR bettors out there, but if you've been following our show, you've been making a lot of money. I've been hitting 70% since we came back. 6 straight winning races, turned a profit. 5-0 my last 5 bets. I released my first ever 5% play, and it won going away last week. I've been betting NASCAR and golf for many years, and I've always said NASCAR's the honeypot where there's. Yeah, and we have so much fun on Wednesdays. We have a great chat. We got some loyal followers, and I think they were offering the season-long package at $500, and in the last 6 races, we're up 20 units.
Wow.
So great stuff, Andy. Great stuff.
Honestly, and I don't do a lot of NASCAR because it's not a sport that I watch a lot of, and that's the same reason why I haven't been betting as much KBO, because I can't watch. But
you don't have to watch.
Exactly.
I'll watch it just give me the picks. I'll do
exactly.
We'll do all the work.
We'll talk. I'll give you a little message. Nick, soccer. I'm watching Bayern right now. We need to get some goals here. That's been your kind of cup of tea outside of this golf time, right? That's the name of the show?
Yep. Stoppage time. We air 1 o'clock Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday and Friday. Prez usually hosts Carmine Bianco, Kevin Dolan, Pablos Legrettos, all as panelists. It's been a fun time with the guys. Great show. We go over, to start the show was nothing going on. We were going over Nicaragua. We were going over Belarus, but now we got Bundesliga back. Premier League starts finally tomorrow. Spain La Liga is back in action. So now we're getting into the good league. So it's been a good show for us for sure. We get a lot of good knowledge out there for the viewers, and we're having a blast with it.
Good
Who's
stuff,
that guy that hosts the show anyway, Nick?
What was
Who's that guy that hosts? Yeah, just
Prez, you're the host, but you said maybe only for a limited time.
Yeah, we're having a conversation with our boss Prez right now, who's off camera, off air, but he's wanting to make sure we mention what a good-looking and diligent and handsome and talented host of Stoppage Time handling the duties. As we need some goals from Bayern, guys. We need some Bayern goals. I'm going to leave it there. Again, great stuff. Andrew McKinnis, Nick Borman, Andy Lang, my very confident and very talented panelists today on this Tea Time from Vegas episode. RBC Heritage this week. I've got a 5% play. Nick, I'm sure, has got some plays too if you buy his package. And if you follow us all on Twitter, follow us all on WagerTalk. The info, all the edges, all the analysis. And until next week, this has been Tea Time from Vegas. Thanks for tuning in, guys.